All right, topic for today. We're reacting to the NFL Execs top 10 wide receiver list for 2025. And I love this topic. I love this topic because we actually just did the video, who would you rather have, Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? So that let me know, MajorGTV, you know, we on to something. We on the right track, you know, we got good topics. Like I said, we was just, you know, discussing that topic in my last video. So if you didn't get a chance to check it out, go ahead and do so. But as for right now, we're going to react to the top 10 wide receiver list. And this list was chosen or was put together by NFL execs. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this. You know, this is obviously a really credible list. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so at number 10, coming in at number 10, starting the list, we got Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, New York Jets. You know, in my last video, I was rocking Garrett Wilson rookie jersey, you know, former Rookie of the Year winner. So Garrett Wilson, you know, he's clean. You know, that's a perfect word to describe him. Clean route running ability. You know, we know he came from Ohio State. Ohio State, that's like wide receiver U. As is LSU. Got to give it to LSU as well. We're definitely going to see some LSU receivers on this list. But for Garrett Wilson, you know, this is his highest ranking was 6. All right, his lowest being unranked. Garrett is 24 years old, and last year he was only an honorable mention. So that shows you, you know, how he's climbing up. He's really climbing up the ladder. He's really making a name for himself. And this overview right here says Wilson makes his top 10 debut after 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, beating Terry McLaurin, Puka Nacua, and Brian Thomas Jr. for the final spot in this ranking. You know, those are some pretty notable names. You know, Scary Terry, another Ohio State receiver. Puka Nacua, we all know how he's pretty much 1A for Matthew Stafford right now. And Brian Thomas Jr., you know, another LSU wide receiver right there. So, you know, I agree with the pick at number 10. Garrett Wilson is special. You know, he's been doing a lot with a little. I know he had Aaron Rodgers, but that was not a pretty season that Aaron Rodgers put together by any means, you know, comparing to him to his own standard. So Garrett Wilson, you know, he's got multiple 1,000-yard seasons, 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He's special. He can make one-hand grabs. He's got a really great route running ability. He can cut on a dime. He can get upfield. He's very twitchy. So he's very clean. He's a very polished receiver, is Garrett Wilson. All right, now coming in at number 9, we got the veteran Super Bowl champion Mike Evans. You know, this is no surprise that Mike Evans is here on this list. You know, he's been, you know, how many years is he in the league? This is at least his 10th year. Mike Evans, I remember when he was coming out of Texas A&M playing with Johnny Manziel, you know, big body wide receiver, you know, tall, he's long, he's fast, he's special, and he's been doing it consistently. His highest ranking as a wide receiver is 5. His lowest ranking is unranked, and last year he was ranked at 8. And Mike Evans is 31 years old. So let that just sink in for a second. You know, he's consistently doing it. I believe this past year he had he finished his 9th consecutive season with 1,000 yards, and that's a record. So Mike Evans is special. He's still doing it. He's a premier outside deep threat, and you know, I love watching Mike Evans. He's like our generation's, like, honestly, I'm not Randy Moss, but like close, like a Randy Moss mixed with like a Andre Johnson. Like that's Mike Evans. So I really like Mike Evans' game. You know, downfield, outside threat, tall, long arms, fast. What more can you ask for? All right, coming in at number 8, we got Nico Collins with the Houston Texans. So Nico's highest ranking is 4. His lowest is being unranked. Last year, he was an honorable mention. So another wide receiver kind of in the same category as Garrett Wilson. You know, he is climbing the charts. Very fast, might I add. This quote right here says, "The rare ability to be a legitimate number one. Good balance, skill set, size, speed, agility for his size. Very good hands, competes." I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. You know, last year he missed 5 games, so he's coming off of an injury. So, you know, he didn't really put together as good of a campaign as he would have liked to. But, you know, he's got CJ Stroud. So as long as he's got him back there, and as long as he, you know, keeps that dog mentality like we know he has, Nico Collins is a tank. You know, he could very well, I could see Nico Collins jumping from 8 being in the top 3, you know, within a year or 2. He's that special. He's big, you know, he's versatile, and he's only 26. So Nico Collins is a very good pick for number 7. Excuse me, number 8. Now coming in at number 7, we got Malik Nabers, New York Giants. All right, so we got our first LSU wide receiver on the list. Remember, we had Brian Thomas Jr. He was an honorable mention, but this is the first wide receiver on the actual list. So his highest ranking is 4, lowest ranking being unranked. Last year, of course, he was not eligible as a rookie, but this year he's coming in at number 7. So let's read this quick overview. Nabers has the NFL's full attention, surpassing 100 catches, 1,200 yards as a rookie in one of the league's worst offenses with 4 different quarterbacks. His rock climbing on stilts difficult. The receptions total is the second most by a rookie in NFL history behind Raiders tight end Brock Bowers. I mean, that's special. That's special. You know, he's playing in a great market of New York. You know, it's almost like he's following behind his footsteps of Odell, right? You know, Odell was an LSU wide receiver. You know, hit the NFL by storm, by surprise. Everybody remember that Sunday night game. You know, probably the play of his career. But Malik Nabers, you know, honestly, he has a higher ceiling than even Odell Beckham. You know, he's so agile and he's so quick. You know, there's a difference between being quick and being fast. Like, quickness and speed are 2 different things, and Malik Nabers has both. So that's why he's special. He's very shifty. You know, he reminds me a little bit of like Jamar Chase. So Malik Nabers is very special. He's got great hands. You know, he had 100 catches as a rookie, so that's saying something. That's saying something. You know, he's playing with a rookie quarterback this upcoming season. You know, we all saw how it played out with Daniel Jones and Drew Lock and Danny Dimes. You know, so he needs to find some consistency, and I can see Malik Nabers definitely being top 5 next year. All right, so strolling in at number 6, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Detroit Lions. So his highest ranking is 3, lowest ranking is unranked. Last year he was number 7, and I could see him. You know, I know I already said that I could see Nico Collins being top 3. I said I could see Malik Nabers being top 5. So, you know, there's only so much more room left, but I could see Amon-Ra St. Brown up there as well. You know, this is has got to be like his 4th or 5th year. And he's always having a minimum of 75 targets. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the type of player in the same category as like a Stephon Diggs, like, or Justin Jefferson. You know, obviously very different, you know, receiver builds. But as far as like what they're great at, you know, their route running ability. So that's why I think of Stephon Diggs. I think of, like I said, Justin Jefferson. He's going to be open. Even when he's not open, he's open. He's got a motor too. He's got an attitude like Nico Collins. So these are the type of wide receivers that you would want on your team. You know, wide receivers that's not afraid to get their hands dirty. Wide receivers that's going to jump in there and, you know, fight for their quarterback. They're going to fight for extra yards. he's a yak machine. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a yak machine. So the yards after the catch is very special for him. And, you know, he's a big reason why the Detroit Lions have seen a lot of success. You know, this is their first year going to the NFC Championship game in like 20 years or so. So they got something really special with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he's coming in here at number 6. All right, and now rounding out the top 5, we got Super Bowl champion A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown is very unique. You know, they got A.J. Brown, you know, came over in the trade from the Tennessee Titans. And we all know that he was, you know, to say the least, not in the right market, right? A.J. Brown is a star. He is, he's built like a tank. You know, he's almost built like a running back, but he also is, you know, has that length that you need at wide receiver. So very fast. They call A.J. Brown, they call him Batman. They call him Batman, and I know they call Devontae Smith, they call him Skinny Batman. So the Eagles, they got, you know, they got something going. They're the best team in the NFL, reigning Super Bowl champions. A.J. Brown put on a show the whole postseason. You know, didn't have as big of a game in the Super Bowl, but obviously, you know, Saquon was a big part of their run as well. But A.J. Brown coming in at number 5, you know, not surprised there. His highest ranking is 3. Last year's ranking was 6. This is another ranking that I agree with. You know, I'm just going to give a disclaimer that I actually agree with this whole list here. You know, I do have some honorable mentions. In the honorable mentions that I have already been mentioned, like Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr. There's a third honorable mention that I was thinking about. T. Higgins. T. Higgins is definitely an honorable mention. You know, he did not make the list, so I'll just go ahead and give him an honorable mention. But with A.J. Brown, let's read this quote from the NFL exec. He said, he's still awesome. He comes up big when you need him. He's still incredibly strong and fast, a nightmare to tackle, maybe a tad slower than he was, but that's slight. And you know, that's perfectly said. He's incredibly strong and fast and a nightmare to tackle. That's why I said he kind of has that build like a running back. Like defenders, linebackers, especially cornerbacks, they kind of just bounce off of him. He absorbs contact really well. He's really great after the catch. So, you know, that's A.J. Brown there coming in at number 5. All right, and coming in at number 4, we got CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, CeeDee's highest ranking is number 3. His lowest ranking is number 10. So a lot of these guys, their lowest ranking has actually been unranked. CeeDee's lowest ranking is number 10. His last year ranking is number 4. So CeeDee has been consistent. You know, throughout his whole career, he has been consistent. He's got a pretty good quarterback, arguably, you know, top 10 quarterback, depending on who you ask. But, you know, what's special about CeeDee, like a lot of these wide receivers, it's no coincidence that, you know, these are the guys that are on the list. But what's special about CeeDee is his yards after the catch. So what CeeDee does after the catch is special. Like CeeDee, you know, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. I don't know how many of you guys had the opportunity to watch him play at Oklahoma, but at Oklahoma he was a monster. You know, he's kind of like an A.J. Brown, but obviously, you know, not the same body frame, not the same body build. So CeeDee, he's a lengthy receiver, has great hands. He's poised for another 100 catch season this year. You know, this year he's going to be playing alongside. He's going to be playing alongside George Pickens. So I'm really excited to see how that, you know, how their chemistry plays out. I think that could be a situation kind of like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So CeeDee can only, you know, benefit from having George Pickens. You know, his target share might go down a little bit, you know, because obviously you're playing alongside another great talent, but it can also cause him to get open. You know, let's read what an executive said. An exec said, excellent out of the slot. That is very, very much fast. Excellent out of the slot, easy mover, can sink and bend. Very good after the catch and excellent ball carrier vision. You know, couldn't have said it better myself. In this past year, or in 2023, I should say, he had a league high 135 receptions. So, you know, it's definitely on pace for another 100 catch season this year. He had 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns. Like, that's amazing. Anything over 10 touchdowns is always amazing. He's got the yards, he's got the catches, he's got the touchdowns. So CD is, you know, he can do everything. Everything that you need your wide receiver to do, you can do that with CD. And especially putting him in the slot. You know, he's a nightmare for nickel backs. He's a nightmare for safeties if you're going to play zone. He's physical, very physical. And, you know, like I said, after the catch, that's where he's special. CD could take a catch, you know, that should have been 10 yards and take it to the crib. So he's very special, and he's coming in here at number 4. Now coming in at number 3, now we're getting to the, you know, to the nitty gritty of the list. We got none other than also Super Bowl champion Tyreek Hill with the Miami Dolphins. So his highest ranking is number 1, lowest ranking is number 8. And, you know, what more can we say about Tyreek Hill, right? So this past 2024 didn't have the greatest season. Obviously, there's a lot of inconsistency at the quarterback situation. But the year prior to that, and I believe that was his first year with the Dolphins, he was a monster. He almost hit 2,000 yards. That's how special he was. He averaged 1,500 yards between 2020 and 2023. And that's on average. So talk about consistency. Everybody knows Tyreek Hill is, you know, maybe not at this point anymore, but at one point in time, he was definitely the fastest player in the NFL. I think Devon Achane, his teammate, might actually have been beat for the fastest in the NFL now. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, speedster, can stretch the field. You know, that game, I always think about that game against the Bills. When the Bills scored the last second touchdown, they thought they was about to win, and then here come Tyreek taking a slant route about 50 plus yards, doing one of these. If you see one of these, it's over. It's over. If you see one of these, just go ahead to the locker room. Go hit the showers, because you know, he's a problem. He is a point machine, fantasy point machine. Like I said, not 2024, but for 2025, I could see Tyreek Hill being top 10. You know, I don't know about top 5. He is getting a little older, but he's still, you know, one of the best. All right, now we saved the best 2 for last, of course. Coming in at number 2 is Justin Jefferson. His highest ranking was number 1. His lowest ranking is number 4. And last year is when he was number 1. And I think that going into last year, you know, that was very much fair. Justin Jefferson being number 1. You know, there was an individual who, when you look at the totality of last year's season, definitely surpassed him. And we'll get to that individual in a minute here. If you can't already guess who he is, you know, again, we did our last video on Justin Jefferson. You know, so he is definitely special. He's got 34 career games of 100 or more yards, and that leads all wide receivers since 2020. Top 3 passer targeting him. He's got, you know, he's never had a top 3 passer targeting him. So that's, you know, that's perhaps why Justin Jefferson doesn't just stay at number 1 on this list. And as we discussed in the last video, you know, what's special about Justin Jefferson? His route running ability. He'll get wide open. You know, he's going to leave a defender in the dust. And you know, that is a recipe for, you know, 10 catches a game. You know, 10 catches a game, that's, you know, obviously usually going to put you over 100 yards. And, you know, Justin Jefferson, what I really like about him is his 4 seasons in the NFL, he's had at least 1,400 yards. He trails only Jerry Rice, who's had 6 of those seasons, and Julio with 5. So that's elite company. And he has an opportunity, obviously, to surpass those records. And he also has an NFL record through 5 seasons with 7,400 yards. So 5 seasons, 7,400 yards. You know that means at least every season was 1,000 yards plus. So I mean, coming in at number 2, there is absolutely no surprise there. And now, last but not least, coming in at number 1, we got Jamar Chase. And back to the whole wide receiver use. So our top 2 wide receivers come out of LSU. We got 3 wide receivers out of LSU, only 1 wide receiver out of Ohio State. So Justin Jefferson Jamar Chase, is a nightmare. He's a nightmare. Jamar Chase is the type, if you're going up against him the night before, you probably not getting that much sleep. You probably going to start guarding him from his crib. Like, I'm not even going to wait till they blow the whistle. I'm going to start guarding you at your crib. So that's how dangerous Jamar Chase is. I've seen defenders bracket him. I've seen them obviously double cover him, playing with a safety over the top, and it just doesn't work. You can't bump him off the line. Good luck sticking with him as he's running down the field. And then, you can't tackle him either. So Jamar Chase, it's been a discussion the last couple of seasons, especially with Justin Jefferson breaking the NFL receiving rookie record, and then Jamar Chase came and did it the following year. So they've been having this like kind of friendly competition. Now it's worth mentioning that Jamar Chase is playing with Joe Burrow. So he's playing with his college quarterback, who obviously he has chemistry with, and on top of that is a top 3 quarterback in the league. So Jamar Chase has got it made. Now he's got it made, and then on top of that, you add his talent. Good night. Jamar Chase is going to be the number 1 wide receiver in the year for the next 3 years. I guarantee you that. All right. He earned 70% of the first place votes, and we also touched on it in the last video. What really separates Jamar Chase from Justin Jefferson, besides Joe Burrow, is the fact that Jamar is going to take it to the crib, more often than not. So if you are a GM, you want points. All that route running, yeah, it's pretty, all those catches, all those yards, it's nice. But at the end of the day, we're trying to put points on the board. So Jamar Chase, that's really what separates him from the rest of them. Fast, you can't tackle him. He's a touchdown machine. Let's see. He's the 5th to earn the Triple Crown. So in case you don't know, Triple Crown, leading the league in yards, leading the league in catches, and leading the league in touchdowns. He's the 5th to do it, joining Cooper Kupp, Steve Smith Sr., Sterling Sharp, and Jerry Rice. So this year he had 127 catches, 1,700 yards, and wait for it, 17 touchdowns. This man had 17 touchdowns, 17 touchdowns. And that is just, I don't know. I really don't know. As one NFL personnel director put it, Jefferson is the better route runner, as I just said, but Chase is the better overall playmaker, meaning he's going to put points on the board. He's the ultimate first pick in the pickup game athlete alongside Eagles running back Saquon Barkley. So he's a nightmare. He's a nightmare to say the least. And I could see him definitely being number 1 for a long time to come. And that's it for today's video. If you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for more content from MajorGTV.